I used to love Pattaya. I mean, genuinely love that place with every fiber of my being. For 15 years, it was my escape, my paradise, my second home. But something happened to that city, or maybe something happened to me, and now I can't stand the sight of it. Maybe I just got old, or maybe Pattaya got younger and meaner. Either way, we stopped speaking the same language. What you're about to hear is the story of how paradise became a cesspit, and how one bar girl named Jira showed me everything that's wrong with what Pattaya has become. If you've been to Walking Street recently, if you've seen the broken down expats drinking Chang from 7-Eleven on Beach Road, if you've watched desperate old men throw money at girls who barely hide their contempt, then you know what I'm talking about. This isn't the Pattaya I fell in love with 15 years ago. Now it's all Russians with Instagram tans, Indian bachelor parties, and broke Brits trying to stretch a pint over 5 hours. This is something much darker, much uglier, and much more dangerous for any man foolish enough to think he can find happiness there. My name's Robert. I'm 61 years old from Birmingham, and I first discovered Pattaya in 2008. I was 46 then, recently divorced, working in logistics, and I had some money saved up. A mate from work had been raving about Thailand for months, talking about the nightlife, the women, the freedom. "It's like nothing you've ever experienced, Bob," he kept saying. "You go there once, you'll never want to leave." He wasn't wrong, not back then. My first trip to Pattaya was genuinely magical. The city was alive but not desperate. The bars were fun without being predatory. The girls were friendly, flirty, but there was still some innocence to it all. You could go to a beer bar, have a laugh with the ladies, buy some drinks, maybe take someone back to your hotel if you clicked. But it felt natural, organic, like you were part of something special. I remember walking down Walking Street for the first time, absolutely mesmerized. The neon signs, the music pumping from every bar, the energy in the air. But what struck me most was how happy everyone seemed. The Thai girls were laughing genuinely, not performing for tips. The foreign men looked relaxed, confident, like they were on holiday rather than escaping from their lives. The beer bars along Soi 6 were my favorite spots. Small, intimate places where you could actually have conversations. The girls spoke decent English, asked about your life, seemed genuinely interested in getting to know you. I met some incredible women in those early years. Nan from Khon Kaen, who taught me to speak basic Thai. Porn from Chiang Mai, who showed me temples I never would have found on my own. Mali from Bangkok, who introduced me to real Thai food, not the tourist stuff. Were they working girls? Of course. Did money change hands? Absolutely. But there was humanity in it, warmth, connection. It felt like you were paying for companionship, not just performing a transaction with a human ATM. Back then, at least the illusion was mutual. Now it's just performance. And if you don't have enough money, you're invisible. I started going back 3 times a year, then 4 times. Then I was spending more time in Pattaya than I was in Birmingham. I had my regular bars, my regular girls, my regular routine. I felt like I belonged there in a way I'd never belonged anywhere else. The Pattaya I fell in love with was rough around the edges, sure, but it had heart. It had soul. It was paradise for men like me who'd been beaten down by life and just wanted somewhere to feel alive again. But that paradise is dead. What's left is a cesspit feeding on broken dreams and empty wallets. I met Jira in 2019, during what I now realize were the final days of the old Pattaya. She worked at a beer bar called Lucky 7 on Soi 7. Not one of the tourist traps, but a local place where regulars went. I'd been coming to Thailand for 11 years by then, and I thought I knew the game inside and out. Jira was different from the girls I'd known in the early days. She was 24, from Surin, with that hard Eisen beauty that comes from growing up poor. But where the girls from my early years had been warm and playful, Jira was calculating. Cold. Professional in a way that should have been a massive red flag. "You want drink with me?" she asked the first night I saw her, not even bothering with small talk. "Sure, what's your name?" "Jira. Lady drink 150 baht. You buy how many?" Straight to business. No flirtation, no getting to know you chat, just price negotiation. But I was lonely. She was stunning, and I convinced myself that her directness was refreshing after years of bar girl games. What followed was 6 months of the most expensive education I've ever received about what Pattaya had become. Jira didn't just work at Lucky 7, she treated it like her personal corporation. She had systems, strategies, different approaches for different types of customers. The broke English teachers got one treatment, the oil rig workers on holiday got another, and guys like me who she pegged as having money got the full extraction protocol. Her English was perfect when she needed it to be. Broken when playing innocent suited her better. She could switch between helpless village girl and sophisticated businesswoman depending on what the situation required. She studied every customer like a predator studies prey, figuring out their weaknesses, their needs, their breaking points. It's hard to say where survival ends and scamming begins. And maybe it doesn't matter anymore. "You different from other men here," she told me after we'd been seeing each other for a month. "You, not desperate like them. You have class." I ate it up. After years of being treated like just another wallet with legs, here was a girl who seemed to see something special in me. She made me feel like I was better than the other tourists, smarter than the regular bar customers, above the usual Pattaya games. What I didn't realize was that making me feel superior to other foreigners was part of her strategy. Separate me from the herd, make me think I was special, then systematically drain every baht she could extract. The requests started small, like they always do. Her motorbike needed repairs, 3,000 baht. Her daughter needed school supplies, 5,000 baht. Her grandmother was sick and needed medicine, 8,000 baht. Standard stuff that I'd heard 100 times before from other girls over the years. But Jira's approach was different. She didn't ask pathetically or emotionally like the old-school bar girls used to. She presented these needs like business propositions, complete with documentation. She'd show me photos of the broken motorbike, receipts from the hospital, her daughter's school fee notice. Everything looked legitimate, professional, carefully prepared. "I not like other girls who lie to customer," she would say. "I show you proof of everything. You can trust me because I honest with you." The amounts kept escalating. What started as a few thousand baht here and there grew into regular payments of 15,000, 20,000, 25,000 baht. Her family seemed to have an endless stream of emergencies, each one more expensive than the last. But the most disturbing thing wasn't the money requests. It was watching how she operated with other customers. I'd sit at Lucky 7 buying her drinks and watch her work 3 or 4 different foreigners simultaneously. She had a British guy sending her money from London, an Australian who visited twice a year and thought she was his girlfriend, a German retiree who was paying her rent, and God knows how many others I never saw. She'd take calls from these men right in front of me, switching between sweet girlfriend voice and businesslike problem solver, depending on who was on the line. She'd promised the British guy she missed him while texting the Australian about their upcoming holiday while asking me for money for her sick mother. Business is business, she explained when I questioned her about it. They not my boyfriend, they customer, like you customer. The honesty was brutal, but I actually respected it more than the fake romance routine I'd gotten from girls in the past. At least Jira was upfront about what this was. But then I started noticing how she talked about her customers when they weren't around. The contempt in her voice when she described the lonely old men who believed her lies. The way she and her friends would laugh about the stupid Farang who sent money every month. The complete lack of empathy for men who were clearly desperate and broken. That fat Englishman, he sent me 40,000 baht last month, she told her friend Ploy one night, not caring that I could hear every word. He think I save money for our wedding. I buy new iPhone and gold necklace instead. He so stupid. They found this hilarious. These were real people she was talking about. Lonely, damaged men who'd found some small piece of happiness in believing someone cared about them. And she was laughing at their pain. Maybe we deserve it. After all, how stupid do you have to be to pay someone to pretend they love you? That's when I started to see what Pattaya had become. It wasn't a place where broken Western men could find some human connection anymore. It was a machine designed to extract maximum profit from their loneliness and desperation. Over those 6 months with Jira, I got an education in how modern Pattaya really works. And it's not pretty. The girls aren't just freelancing anymore, they're part of organized networks. Jira and her friends shared information about customers, coordinated their approaches, even traded clients back and forth depending on who could extract more money from them. They had WhatsApp groups where they'd share photos of foreign customers, discuss their weaknesses, plan strategies for maximum exploitation. "This man very lonely," Jira would type about some poor bastard she'd met. "Wife died 2 years ago. Has pension money but not much else. Good for 10,000 baht per month if you play sad story correctly." They treated it like a business because that's exactly what it had become. Professional emotional manipulation with profit margins and quarterly targets. This was corporate-level emotional fraud, and I was the quarterly bonus. But the foreigners had changed too. The old-timers from my early Pattaya days, guys who understood the game, who treated it as fun escapism while keeping their feet on the ground. They were mostly gone, replaced by increasingly desperate men who saw Thailand as their last chance at happiness. And maybe for some, it was. But only for a while. Walking down Beach Road during the day became depressing. Broken down expats nursing single beers for hours because they couldn't afford more. Guys in their 70s and 80s who'd blown their life savings on bar girls and were now stuck in cheap apartments, living on social security. Men who'd given everything to women who disappeared the moment the money ran out. "Look at them," Jira would say with disgust as we walked past these men. "They come to Thailand thinking they can buy love. So pathetic." The irony was staggering. She was literally in the business of selling the illusion of love to desperate men, then mocking them for believing it. The bars had changed too. Where there used to be social spaces where you could have a drink and a chat, they'd become extraction centers. The girls were more aggressive, more demanding, less interested in any interaction that didn't lead directly to money changing hands. The mama-sans pushed harder for bar fines. The drink prices had tripled while the experience got worse. Even the physical environment had deteriorated. Walking Street was more crowded but less fun. The music was louder, the lights more garish, everything designed to disorient and overwhelm rather than entertain. It felt like a casino, carefully engineered to separate you from your money as efficiently as possible. The end came during my last visit in late 2019. I'd been seeing Jira for 6 months, spending probably 150,000 baht on her various emergencies and regular payments. I thought we had some kind of understanding. I knew it was transactional. She knew I wasn't some naive tourist. We were both getting what we wanted from the arrangement. Then I found out about Somchai. I'd suspected she had a Thai boyfriend. Most of the girls do. But I didn't care as long as she was upfront about our arrangement being business. What I discovered was much worse. Somchai wasn't just her boyfriend. He was her pimp, her manager, her business partner. He was the one behind all the emergencies, all the sob stories, all the carefully crafted extraction strategies. Jira wasn't working alone. She was part of a sophisticated operation designed to maximize revenue from foreign customers. I found this out in the most humiliating way possible. I was walking to meet Jira at Lucky 7 when I saw her arguing with a Thai man outside the bar. She was handing him a thick envelope of cash, my cash, while he shouted at her about not meeting her monthly targets. When she saw me approaching, she quickly sent him away and put on her sweet bar girl smile. "Hello, darling. You ready for good time tonight?" "Who was that?" I asked. "Nobody, just friend. Come, we go inside. I'm very thirsty." But I'd seen enough. The envelope of money, the way she submitted to his authority, the fear in her eyes when he was yelling at her. This wasn't a girl trying to support her family. This was someone being controlled, managed, used as a tool to extract money from foreign men. That night, instead of going to her room, I took her to dinner and tried to talk to her about what I'd seen. Maybe I could help her get away from this situation, I thought. Maybe underneath all the hard business exterior, there was still some of the warmth and humanity I remembered from the old Pattaya. I was wrong. "You think you save me?" she laughed. "From what? I make more money in 1 month than my friends make in 1 year working in factory. Why I want your help?" "But that guy was treating you like business partner. That what he is. Somchai help me find customers, keep me safe, handle problems. I give him percentage, same like any business." She explained it all matter-of-factly, how they'd identified me as a high-value target from my first night at Lucky 7, how they'd researched my background, my spending patterns, my emotional vulnerabilities, how every emergency had been carefully calculated to extract maximum money without triggering my suspicion. "Your type very easy," she said. "You want to feel special, like you different from other Farang. So I tell you that you different, you give me money. Simple." The casual cruelty of it was breathtaking. Not just what she'd done to me, but what she was doing to dozens of other men. The British guy who thought she was his girlfriend. "He marry me next year if I keep pretending to love him," she said with a laugh. The Australian retiree, He sell his house in Sydney, moved to Thailand to be with me. Very stupid. These were real people's lives she was destroying for profit, and she found it amusing. That's when I finally understood what Pattaya had become. Not a place where damaged Western men could find some human connection, but a sophisticated extraction industry that identified vulnerable targets and systematically destroyed them for profit. The final insult came when I told Jira I was done with our arrangement. I'd figured out her game, I'd seen behind the curtain, and I wanted no more part of it. Her mask slipped completely. "You think you so smart," she sneered, "but you just like all the others. Lonely old man who come to Thailand because no woman in your country want you." She was right, of course. That's exactly what I was. But hearing it said so coldly, so dismissively, by someone I'd spent 6 months supporting financially, was devastating. "You gave me 150,000 baht in 6 months, she continued. "You think that buy you something special. You think that make you different. I have 5 other men give me same amount. You nothing special." Then she said the words that still ring in my ears. "You come to paradise, but you bring your own hell with you. Pattaya not problem, you the problem." She wasn't entirely wrong about that either. The desperate, lonely, broken Western men weren't innocent victims. They were willing participants in their own exploitation. They chose to believe the lies because the alternative, accepting that they were alone and had to deal with their problems, was too painful. But what she didn't understand, what none of them understood, was that the old Pattaya offered something more than just transactional sex. It offered community, friendship, genuine human connection. You could go to a bar and actually enjoy yourself without being seen as nothing more than a walking ATM. That night, I walked down Walking Street for what I knew would be the last time. Every bar looked the same: predatory, aggressive, designed to extract maximum profit from human loneliness. The girls were younger but harder. The customers were older but more desperate. The whole ecosystem had evolved into something ugly and soul-destroying. I saw men in their 70s stumbling between bars, throwing money at girls young enough to be their granddaughters, completely deluded about what they were buying. I saw bar girls who couldn't even pretend to enjoy their customers' company anymore, going through the motions with barely concealed disgust. I saw mama-sans pushing drinks and bar fines with the aggressive intensity of car salesmen trying to hit their monthly quota. This wasn't paradise anymore. This was a cesspit feeding on broken dreams and empty promises. I haven't been back to Pattaya since that night with Jira. Not because I'm bitter or angry. I got exactly what I paid for, and I knew the rules of the game when I sat down at the table. But because the place I fell in love with simply doesn't exist anymore. The Pattaya of 2008, 2010, even 2015. That was a place where damaged Western men could find some temporary respite from their problems. Not love, not genuine relationships, but human connection and escapism that felt real enough to matter. The girls were working, sure, but they brought some warmth and personality to the transaction. The bars were businesses, but they still felt like social spaces. What exists now is something much darker. An industrial-scale operation designed to identify vulnerable foreign men and extract every possible baht from their loneliness and desperation. The girls are part of organized networks that treat emotional manipulation like a science. The customers are increasingly broken men who see Thailand as their last chance at happiness, making them perfect targets for exploitation. The saddest part is that many of these men know they're being used. They just don't care because the alternative, facing their problems alone, is more painful than being systematically robbed by someone who pretends to care about them. Jira was right about one thing. We brought our own hell with us. But the old Pattaya at least tried to make that hell a little more bearable. The new Pattaya just feeds on it. I think about those early years sometimes. The genuine laughter, the actual conversations, the feeling that you were part of something special rather than just a target for extraction. That paradise is gone, replaced by a cesspit that destroys everyone it touches. The Western men become increasingly desperate and deluded, burning through their life savings chasing an illusion of love. The Thai girls become harder and more cynical, treating human loneliness as just another commodity to be traded. The entire ecosystem becomes more predatory, more efficient, more soul-destroying with each passing year. Call it paradise, cesspit, playground, or hell. Pattaya will be whatever you can afford to pretend it is.